We live? Yes, we are live. So,
Ooh.
Guys, welcome. Thank you for being here. And if you're watching the replay, all is well. The reason I'm going to be doing these interviews over the next 2 weeks, really, I'm going to be interviewing all of the speakers for our online summit, which is going to be starting on Monday, the 11th of May. It's a 5-day summit. There's 20 speakers, so 4 speakers a day. And it's called Take on the World, Ladies, Look Good and Feel Amazing, even in lockdown. Because if you're anything like me, there's a lot going on, isn't there? And there's going to be a lot of people feeling a bit stressed, overwhelmed, a bit anxious. So really, we've got an amazing bunch of women that are going to be offering tools to deal with things, advice, and all sorts. So I have Sarah Griffiths with me here today. So I'll let you explain, Sarah, who you are, where you are, actually, and what you do.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks so much for having me. And I can definitely relate to the struggle to carry on looking good. I'm kind of getting up every morning now. My nails are 5 weeks old. My hair needs cutting. I know, I'm trying to keep my hands out of sight, so I can relate to it. But, there are so many things that we have to be grateful for. And it's when we focus on the gratitude rather than the negative and the negatives, what's our hair and nails compared to so much else that is going on? Let's get this into perspective. So anyway, so I'm Sarah Griffiths. I live in Western Australia, a place called Margaret River, about 260 kilometers south of Perth. Beautiful wine growing region in WA. Very blessed to be living here. And I'm what's known as a rapid transformational therapist. There are only several thousand of us across the world trained so far in rapid transformational therapy. And it's a very particular methodology that includes hypnotherapy that leads to rapid healing. Rapid healing. I focus on trauma and abuse. So, but most of us deal with emotional and mental health issues, physical issues that traditional medicine tells people they will either take a very long time to recover from or that they can't recover from. A lot of my clients have been in therapy for years and they've been told that they can't recover. That is not true. That is absolutely not true. That's the work that I do.
So what led you into this line of work, Sarah?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't something that I'd planned. It found me rather than the other way around, but it was a process. So to make a very long story short, so 10 years ago, I was actually suicidal. So I'm living proof that you can overcome all these things. I don't know myself. I don't recognize that person of 10 years ago that was suicidal. I can't relate to that at all.
Wow.
And I went on this very long, I made a decision. I just decided that this was over. The person I was, the life I was living, it was over. I was going to make changes. Didn't know how, just decided. And that's a common thread that runs through anyone who decides to make major change. That first decision, that deciding. And I just went on a personal development journey. I went into business. Actually, I was in restaurants to begin with, but I did a lot of personal and professional development within that. And once I'd been doing that for a few years, and again, I'd really made a lot of changes to who I was, people started to ask me to coach and mentor them, which I wasn't expecting. And what I discovered was that
they saw the changes in you firsthand.
Yeah. And people could see, like, I was running 2 restaurants that were 260 kilometers apart, which is why I live in Margaret River. I was juggling my family. And people on the outside, of course, it all looked amazing. It wasn't all amazing. I'm human. But people were like, well, if I wanted to do what you're doing, how would I do it? And what I discovered from the coaching I was doing was that just like me, no matter what people came to me with, and most of them thought they wanted business coaching, but what had them stuck was something about themselves. And more often than not, it was related to some kind of trauma or abuse in their background that had set them up with a certain set of beliefs, behaviors, misconceptions. You know, there's paradigms, as we call them, the blueprints that we all run our lives to. And I made this correlation, and I just looked at my own journey, and by then it was 7 years. And I just thought, people haven't got 7 years to live in all this pain and all this confusion. And many of them have already been doing this for 2 years. I was like, there has to be a faster way. And I literally started to search for a faster way to help people. And that's when I discovered RTT. I started to follow Marissa Peer, who personally trained me in it. And I followed it for a while thinking, well, compared to what most people say, what traditional talk therapy tells you, this can't be possible. And then I realized that she was genuine, this was real. And I had an overwhelming desire that this is what I wanted to bring to my clients. So I trained in it, totally changed myself again, like unbelievable, the leaps and bounds that I made in my personal life, and all of my physical healing. I was dealing with some very intense headaches, neck, shoulder. It was all emotional pain, all disappeared.
It's all linked, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. All disappeared when I did RTT. Right. And then I started to bring it to my clients. And again, I thought it was going to be business coaching. That's what, because I was a business person, it seemed logical to me. But more and more people were coming to me with these serious trauma and abuse issues. And I'd done so much training in it from my own work and everything else that I just decided to specialize. So I do loads of CPD, continuous professional development, and it's all trauma and abuse. I've been doing that for 1.5 years now. So that's the work I do. I specialize in, I'd say, trauma and abuse. People come to me with mental health issues as well. Funny enough, quite often they don't realize that they're related to some kind of trauma or abuse.
Is it just something that naturally comes out? It wasn't a conscious thing. It was something sort of in the subconscious, and they're just doing or acting in certain ways or behaving in certain ways, and they didn't realize there was an underlying issue.
Yeah. And what's very interesting is that so often people who have this abuse in their background, they are so conditioned to think that they are at fault or that they are wrong, that they actually feel guilty for even thinking that the way they are might be related to someone else or something in their past. They feel like they have to take that on themselves. And it's such a relief to them to be told, no, it's okay. This absolutely is related to your past. This isn't you at all. And it's so refreshing. There's so much freedom in people just knowing, well, it's not me. I'm not a bad person. I wasn't terrible. I don't need to carry all this guilt. And then we can start the process. Brilliant. It's fascinating. Yeah.
Very rewarding, I can imagine.
It's amazing. It is amazing because it's fast. You know, I'm not here to have.
When you say fast, to explain to people what actually is rapid transformation technique, what it involves, and what sort of benefits can they expect from, say, coming to you?
Sure. So rapid transformational therapy, I always say that rapid transformational therapy, it includes hypnotherapy. And I know there are misconceptions and things about that. So in the session I'm bringing for you, I deal with some of those main myths, so that people understand what it is and what it isn't. It's really just a development on meditation. It's just deep relaxation that allows you to access your subconscious mind in a different way to how you normally could. And you can access the suggestions that have been planted in your subconscious that don't serve you. So I say that rapid transformational therapy is to therapy what the aeroplane was to the horse and cart.
Right. Okay.
If you can imagine.
Analogy.
All right. So we're speeding everything up. Yeah. Because normally what we're trying to do is talk to the logical mind. So talk therapy traditionally talks to the logical conscious mind, which is only responsible for 5% of everything you do every day. It's your subconscious mind that has created the beliefs, and it's your
Absolutely.
subconscious mind where all the damage is done. So when we take the very best of traditional therapy, of CBT, NLP, psychotherapy, talk therapy, psychology, the really, really effective techniques of those, and we apply them to the subconscious mind, where we really can make immediate change. Immediate. This is where the neural pathways are created. And sometimes it's just like upgrading software in a computer.
Wow.
It's just like erasing the old stuff. It's so
Wow.
that you're running on the best and the latest information for you as who you are today, instead of what your mind laid down before you were 10 years old.
Right.
Because you're a different person now. Yeah.
Be like the Matrix then, right?
Absolutely. Lots of people say that. Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely.
So that's very simply, and I was going to say that's very simply a complex process, but it's not complex at all. We've just made it complex because we've kind of forgotten which part of the mind we should be dealing with when we're trying to heal. And I say to people, it's like when people are in therapy for years, it's a bit like if you go to the doctor with a broken arm and he starts to treat your leg, you don't wonder why your arm isn't healing. You know why your arm isn't healing. So with something to do with mental and emotional health, you're actually going to whoever you're speaking to with a problem that is sitting in your subconscious, and they are trying to deal with it with your logical conscious mind.
Right.
And you can't.
Work. It's not worked up till now.
It hasn't worked. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. For really basic things, I think if people have really simple things that they just need to maybe change something about the way they're thinking, or they just need help to see a pattern or to realize something, great. I'm not here to knock talk therapy. Of course, it has a place, it has a purpose, it's useful. But for these really deep-seated, you have to remember that the effects of emotional, physical, sexual abuse as a child, when you are vulnerable and you are relying on someone to care for you, and you don't get that, the betrayal and the rejection and the fear, and what this lays down in your mind about yourself. This is it. For most people, the damage done isn't the event. The damage done is how it leaves them feeling about themselves.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
My job,
think and feel affects what we do on a daily, day-to-day basis, right?
Yeah.
So this is just diving in a lot deeper. And so the benefits are instant. Is that what you're saying?
They can be. And it really depends. Quite often people will come out of a session and they are different. They know that things have shifted. They have these realizations and they just let things go because they see that it was something they thought and felt as a child and it wasn't relevant then, but they were vulnerable, they were powerless, they were trapped, they adopted a survival mechanism, all sorts of different things that come up, and people can just let them go because they're not that person anymore.
Wow. So you're really empowering people. You're really empowering people.
It's transformational. It changes lives. My whole focus is on totally changing who someone is and what they therefore bring to their life and what they create. That's all I care about. That's fantastic. That's my focus. That's what I do. That's why I don't do single sessions. Some people say, oh, can I just have one session? No, I don't do. In saying that, most people do 3 sessions with me. And that's why I say I don't want people for months. If I have clients ongoing, it's because they've achieved something, a huge shift in their life. Let's say they were struggling to start their business and we've transformed who they are as a person. And now they're like, right, Sarah, I'm ready to go. I need you to help me start my business. So what we've done, we've shifted what they're with me for. But I don't want someone with me for months and months and months trying to fall in love with themselves, trying to establish self-confidence, trying to understand that they have the right to have values and boundaries and to be heard. These things should be pretty quick, very quick. You know. What are we doing if we're in the healing space and telling people, oh, I expect to see you for the next 2 years?
Yeah,
That's
right.
what,
You're not
how
doing your
dare
job.
we?
Yeah, you're not
How
doing
dare
your
we?
job properly, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so no, I want you to heal and move on. Definitely. Yeah.
Brilliant. It must be very rewarding for you as a coach to know what a change you're making, a real change in people's lives.
It's incredible. And people often say to me, how do you do this? How do you work with trauma all the time? And it isn't like that, because every session that I do with someone is a healing process. So
Right.
every session,
So
we
it's not
both
about the
come out.
problem, it's about the outcome. So rather than focusing
Absolutely.
on the issue, it's
Yeah.
about changing the outcome. Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what can people expect from you throughout the summit now, through your session? What are they going to learn from you?
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to dispel some of the myths about hypnosis and hypnotherapy, talk to people about what it is, what it's not, and what they can expect from it. Going to talk about the main mental health issues: depression, anxiety, complex post-traumatic stress, why we have them, why people are told they can't heal from them, and why that's not true. And then right at the end of that, I'm going to talk about some of the rules of the mind that they can apply to help themselves immediately. And then, so I think that's about 25 minutes. But then what I've done, I've put together a generic hypnotherapy session for people, just a relaxation, just to give them a taster.
Brilliant. So that they get to experience what a session could be like, rather than it being specific. It's more of a sorry, go on.
It's just taking them through the process, and obviously it's generic, and when they do it with me, it's very specific and very tailored. So it's different, and it can take practice. I give people time to learn this process, because funny enough, relaxation for most of us takes practice.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of people struggle that, because we're all so much in our own heads with so much going on. Whereas now, it's the ideal time, isn't it? Everybody's been stuck at home. If they've been furloughed or whatever, they're at home. I think people have sort of calmed down, I'm hoping, a little bit from all the mad panic of earlier. So that I'm hoping that they're going to be open to suggestions that are going to help them in the future. So brilliant. I look forward to listening to it too.
Okay, well, and all I hope is that people get something from it. You only need to take one thing from every speaker for it to be absolutely incredible. One gem.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. Everybody will get something out of this summit. They'll hear something in a certain way, something will resonate with them, and yes, it can make all the difference. So guys, I will put below in the comments the link to Sarah's speaker page, where there'll be more information on her, how to contact her if you want to email. This is her website, sallyg.com, and the date and time that she will be on the summit. It is free to register, but make sure you've got your ticket through Eventbrite. So you can get it through the website, but you will need to register, because otherwise you won't get the password to actually experience Sarah's presentation. Well, it's a sort of presentation come workshop, right?
Yeah, it's a training and a presentation. And the thing is, once I've taught people this hypnotic relaxation technique, it's something they can take away for themselves. And I also have a free audio that they can download to be able to do this. So yeah,
brilliant. So that will all be there on the day. So if you haven't registered, register today. And I really look forward to experiencing it myself too. So thank you for being here, Sarah. I will see you soon.
Thanks so much. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.